The world is on fire, but we must still go on. This is the moment you were born for, when everything you were ever taught is here to test you. The virtual world is still our reality. As things change, some things remain the same, like the fact that we need you all in. There's a fine line between leaders and learners, but sometimes you have to lead and learn simultaneously. We are in this together. Our futures are intertwined. You can save the world one young person at a time. This will not be the year that broke us, but the year that built the foundation for a better tomorrow. Our vision is 2020. It's never been clearer. We are at the edge of the cliff, and you can either jump or fly, but we need you to try. Or you can reach down and find the kid in you. Wake them up like it's the first day of school. Pour a spoonful of truth in their cereal. Remind them who they really are. Remind them that they did not come this far to only come this far. Remember your why. Reignite your purpose on purpose, because we, the youth, are worth it. Your work will not go in vain. We will grow together from this pain. Everything is so black and white, and it's led us to this gray area. I hope you're taking notes, because I need you to be present for this. So put down your cell phones, close your computer, put your ear right here, and hear me clearly. What we need from you in this moment is for you to be fearless, for you to be courageous, for you to walk in your truth, for you to take back your power, for you to show up, for you to keep going. And then we need you to vote like our lives depend on it, because they really do. We need you to give us the space to fail and not judge us for it. We need you to reassure us when we feel like life is overwhelming. Listen to us. Hear what we are saying through our silence. Stand with us if we choose to protest with nonviolence. Weed through our voices when they are too loud. Read between the lines. Interpret our smiles. Look us in the eyes and know when there is pain there. Allow us a moment to open up and share. Empower our voices. Amplify our choices. Help us stand on your shoulders as we get bolder and bolder. Please get to know us and trust us like we trust you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to 2021 Virtual Student Supports Institute. We are so excited to have over 1,500 of you all registered and joining us this week. And I think for the very first time in our network's history, we have a site coordinator or a program manager or someone represented from every CIS affiliate and licensed partner in our family. We're so thrilled to have you all. We also have a number of funders and supporters who have logged in to join us. So welcome to all of you partners. We are excited to have you get a sneak peek of what communities and schools site coordinators do on a daily basis in support of students and families around the country. I'm here today to set the theme for the week and how you all will engage. This week, you're going to hear from site coordinators just as yourselves, program managers, and external partners and subject matter experts talk about what it means to re-engage, recover, and reimagine public education. There is nothing that I can say that hasn't been said already about 2020 and how disruptive of an disruptive it has been to the education system and experience for students. And we also had a national dialogue on race equity and social justice to understand that what you all already knew on a daily basis, which is that the public education system isn't always set up to support all students equitably. And site coordinators on a daily basis support students and advocate for the changes needed at the school and community level to help it to help make it a more equitable learning opportunity. This week, the theme of re-engaging, recovering, and reimagining is our week of exploration from practitioners and your perspectives. And that's what's going to anchor the work this week. So I am here also to give you all an overview of opportunities on how to engage with each other and us in the platform. So starting with the 6Connects platform, that is the beautiful website and webpage that you all use to access this session. Go back to that and consider that a home base for you. In the top right corner, you're going to find a wellness room where you can click in and find mindfulness moments, cheat sheets and supports, and maybe an opportunity to just take a break as we built them in the afternoons throughout the session. In addition to the wellness room, there is a networking lounge. Part of what we want to recreate is an opportunity for you to connect with your colleagues around the country. And so the networking lounge has fun things, a Black History Month inspired Spotify playlist for you all to listen to or grab and go with you. And then lastly, outside of that networking lounge, in the top right is the network leaderboard that will keep track of the actions you're taking to engage with each other, chat in chat rooms, things like that. And we're going to offer a $25 gift certificate to the CIS store for the person who makes the most engagements in the leaderboard. Lastly, on the left, you're going to find the main stage icon. Come back to that. You're going to hear from some amazing speakers, talk about equitable learning and framing the needs of re-engaging students and families in public education. Right below that is a virtual breakout sessions icon, and that's where you're going to access the breakout sessions, where so many site coordinators, program directors, partners have prepared sessions for you all to dive deeper into topics of interest. In there, you're also going to have access to a virtual briefcase. So that briefcase is sort of our version of a goodie bag. It's going to have some key pieces of information for you to take a look at. And as you proceed throughout the breakout sessions this week, you're going to be able to find different PowerPoints or attachments that are helpful in that virtual briefcase. This whole platform will be available until the end of March, so March 31st. All of the recordings that are available will be available in this platform, organized with your briefcase and the sessions for you to access later on. That way, if you can't make it to 2 concurrent sessions at the same time, you can catch it at a later time. All right, let me be the first here at the national office this week to thank you all, site coordinators, program managers, local affiliates, board members, everyone who's joining us in support of the CIS mission. We are so grateful for the work you all are doing in support of students and families every day. And I am confident you will hear a lot of appreciation throughout the week. Lastly, let me switch gears and introduce our next keynote speakers and discussion. Please join me in welcoming Communities in Schools National President and CEO, Ray Saldaña, and Chief Program and Innovation Officer, Heather Clawson, to the virtual stage. They are going to engage in a conversation about the exponential impact CIS can have on public education moving forward, and we're so excited to hear from them.
Welcome, everyone, and welcome, Ray, to the 2021 Student Supports Institute. I want to thank everyone for taking time away from the important work that you all do to be here with us today, and we hope throughout the week. I promise you it will be worth every minute. I also want to take a moment at the outset to thank my colleagues who are responsible for the planning and execution of one of our most important and, to date, one of the most highly attended network events. To Michael, Jesse, Kevin Branch, Jacqueline, Irene, Gaudencio, Frederick, Julia, Rashida, Arena, and of course, our network presenters, external guests, and alumni, we thank you. This week would not be possible without you all. Now let's get started. So, Ray, as I was preparing for our conversation today, I realized this is your first Student Supports Institute since becoming the president and CEO of Communities and Schools. I can't believe it has been almost a year, and what a year it has been.
Well, as you say that, I'm almost catching my breath in these deep breaths that we all have come accustomed to taking these days, whether it's after another meeting back to back. This time last year, the concept of what was ahead was not even a glimmer. So yeah, in fact, this is my very first Student Supports Institute, and I know that you all had a very successful event last year in Las Vegas in person. If you can imagine that, the thought is so exciting to me to be thinking about possibly being with other people in a physical space together. But I'm just proud to be the leader of this organization. The best way to be battle tested is to go through battle. And I think everyone in this organization has gone to battle for their students, I would say even before the pandemic. And so now as we think about the work that we are going to engage in, it's so lifting to me that we've got close to 1,500 plus members of the network from throughout the country logging in. And we just thank you for being part of this network. Thank you for being part of this fight and in this moment together.
Yeah, Ray, I mean, just imagine if we could have 1,500 of us together in the same space. Looking back, it's been a little over a year since we were able to, all convene together at the last institute. And, as you said, there was no way we could imagine what was in store for us. And to say we have been tested and, as you said, battle tested this past year really is an understatement. Yet, despite the uncertainty of the pandemic, the shock and hurt following the murder of George Floyd and other Black Americans, the social injustice and reckoning that followed, and the economic, social, emotional, and mental toll these events have had on all of us, we have persevered. And it's this perseverance and commitment to not just surviving this moment, but to coming out of it stronger and even more committed to change that I want to chat with you about today, Ray. As the leader of this amazing network and as a former CIS student yourself, you've experienced firsthand the impact of our CIS model. You've seen the power of relationships and the magic of our site coordinators, hundreds of whom are with us today. So with these assets in mind, I'd like to start by asking you about your thoughts related to two of the themes of our Institute this week, which are very interconnected: re-engagement and recover. So, Ray, what do these words mean to you, and what do they look like for CIS? Love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, well, first of all, I don't know if I haven't said this at the outset, but Dr. Clawson, it's just such an honor and privilege to get to be here at this moment in time, and I want to make sure to lift up your work, the work of the national office, who has gotten us to this point, and I want to be very specific about the point in time that we are in as an organization that has been around for 40 plus years. It has been because of the research and the data and the evidence, but of course that's sort of layered on top of decades of work that we have put into communities all across the country. So when we think about what does it mean that we are going to re-engage, and frankly, the concept now is about making sure that we are not only getting better at connecting with students, because that's what we're going to be asked to do by our school principals and by school leadership and by superintendents who are choosing the organization. It really is this question of going beyond just engaging students and using all of that science, all of that research that tells us what students really need when they are hurting or feel harmed, And as we consider the last several months of learning loss that has happened for young people, it's important that we sort of position ourselves not only as a network primed for this moment, but that we position to learn this experience. And that's what re-engagement really truly means when we talk about it at this level. I know that you, Heather, and the team at Student Supports is working with members of the affiliate right now who have said, I'm going to raise my hand. I want to step up to ensure that we are improving on the design, that we have a model, integrated student supports. It's a fancy way of saying this is how we put the research and the science behind what it looks like to build develop a caring relationship with young people. As somebody who went through that myself, I certainly didn't know all of the intentionality that goes into our model. All I knew was that I was meeting somebody who took an interest in me, who took time, and who wasn't part of my family, but treated me with a kind of love and devotion and care that you would treat another family member when they were struggling or when they were doing well, and you would pat them on the back and encourage them to push even further. And so while that might not feel like it is going through rigorous evaluation or data to the young person who is experiencing CIS, all they know, like in my case, is what I knew, which was I was developing a strong relationship with somebody who I could trust, who was going to help me build out and help me write my own story. That's what in 2,900 schools now all across the country. And when we think about what does it mean to re-engage these students, it's not just finding them. And by the way, that is an effort in itself. I've been on several calls with psych coordinators who tell me about this experience, who tell me that the struggle to just locate a student who is missing from virtual attendance or in-person school can be, one of an investigative and a journalist or a detective. One psych coordinator told me that without a deep and caring relationship with the young people that we work with today, they wouldn't have been able to find out through a relationship with one of their students who said, "Miss, you're not going to find her. I saw on her Instagram story she's left and moved to another state." Or if you want to really find that student, you're going to have to go to a grandparent's house or an uncle's home. So the struggle of just engaging students is one component of our work. Re-engaging our students in this new effort is going to be more than just looking at the snapshot in time. Can we get students back into the virtual space or back into their schoolroom? It's going to be about how we improve integrated student supports, not just to track attendance and behavior and academics, although we will continue to do so, but to really track those levels of engagement, of social, emotional, mental health care, using everything we know about trauma-informed care to ensure that we are truly not just engaging our students, but re-engaging them at a deep level. And that's what Student Supports Institute, I hope, is about, and it's going to be a continuation even after we end the events of this week to truly live out that work. And I know, Dr. Clawson, you're going to be eager to make sure that we evaluate that, and what works, we elevate, and what works, we spread the gospel to the rest of the network, because ultimately, it's going to be about how this work spreads to every public school in the country, especially those who are serving students who are Black or brown or low income, and have suffered the most for the last 12 months.
Yeah, Ray, I mean, there's just so much work ahead and so much, to be done. And I think we all understand the importance and urgency of, as you said, not just reconnecting with our students and families, but making sure that we are helping them recover during this time, addressing their basic needs, as well as providing them with the supports and tools necessary to address their social, emotional, and mental health well-being, all things necessary so that we can, in fact, apply what we know and put our evidence-based model into practice and ensure that our students are truly re-engaging in their learning. And that, the impact the work our site coordinators have had and will continue to have with our students will in many ways be immeasurable, which is tough to say coming from a researcher, but but I think it's really true. And I'm sure you're as excited as I am to learn over the next few days about just the incredible work that's taking place across our network around re-engagement and recovery of our students and families. And I think we can all agree that the work of CIS has perhaps never been more important than it is today. And to that end, Ray, we often talk at the national office about how we believe this is the moment for CIS. But how do we make sure that we are about more than the moment? We're doing incredible work right now, hard work, essential work. But what happens when the pandemic is over? Once this crisis is over, how do we ensure we don't go back to normal? Because normal wasn't working for many of our students, in particular our students of color and our students living in poverty. So, Ray, how can we help reimagine education for all students? And more specifically, what role do you see CIS playing in changing our education system for the better?
So, Heather, I love this question. I think it is the kind of question that makes me excited to wear this pin that describes what really is going to be a future. Here's a prediction that I will make about the future of public education. That when you bookmark the moment at which we truly started to grapple with the inequities that existed throughout public education and even our communities, we can use 2020 and 2021 at the checkpoint when we're in 2030. Because I think that communities and schools has a huge role to play to reimagine, rebuild, find your version of how to say really doing right by the students who need us the most. And we know who those students are. We know the communities they live in. We know them, if you drill down by the census tract or the zip code. And we've known this for a long time. And unlike the vaccine for COVID-19 that had to go through several trials and several months and years to develop and be tested for its efficiency and its efficacy, we know what works with children. We know what works with students. And so when we think about communities and schools and what it has built over 4 decades, it has the vaccine that is at the center of the problem for what exists in public education. Let's quickly diagnose the situation. Here are the facts. Public education today, if you took a poll and a snapshot of students sitting in public schools in our classrooms, you would look at this trend line over the last decade where we not only slowly crossed over 50% of the students who qualify for free or reduced lunch, who are suffering from the effects of poverty. That was about a decade ago. Now we've inched closer to 53, 54, 55%, and that was pre-pandemic of the amount of students who were struggling with the effects of poverty and in public education. And what was missing from public education, here's our theory of change, is a trained psych coordinator in those schools. And when I say we're in 2,900 schools, it sounds like a huge achievement, and it is. And it's happening at the same time that school districts have had to make a tough decision. They said, can we continue to stay with communities and schools? Do they have the kind of results? Do they have the kind of impact? Do they have the credibility and the relationships that we can count on to get us out of this crisis? Can they connect with students? On all of those counts, we have passed the test. Our clinical trials are well behind communities and schools where we know integrated student supports, the assessment that we do with students, and now with their families,